good evening, everyone. Welcome to Austin's Anfield Angle, your AAA grade Liverpool FC podcast where passionate Copites resonate. We're live from Austin, Texas, and as always, I'm your host, DJ, and we have got a great show in store for you guys this week. We'll be talking about the game that just happened. Liverpool beating Aston Villa by 2-0 over last weekend. We will also cover some statistics about that game, some interesting facts about the players. We'll then dive into some other discussion topics throughout the session. I do believe this week we've got an international break, so we don't have an upcoming game anytime soon. Nonetheless, we still have lots to talk about Liverpool. We've got lots to talk about the players, lots to talk about incidences in the game and statistics, and it will be a good in-depth discussion. I hope you guys enjoy what we've got in store for y'all tonight. All right then, so let's dive straight into the post-game analytics for Liverpool's win over Aston Villa last weekend. 2 goals were scored at Anfield. One was from Darwin Núñez, and the second goal was scored from who else but Mohamed Salah, scoring his 165th Premier League goal for Liverpool, taking him to the 8th ranking in the overall charts for most Premier League goals scored. Of course, top of that list is Alan Shearer with 260 Premier League goals. And then you've got Harry Kane in second place with 213 and Wayne Rooney with 208. So Mohamed Salah is in the 8th position, but he's creeping up to number 7. And guess who is the 7th ranking there? It is none other than Arsenal's Thierry Henry with 175 Premier League goals, which is only 10 goals away from what Mohamed Salah is having right now. So I actually think if Salah does stay with Liverpool, he will very likely surpass that. But then again, of course, the way his season is going so far, I mean, he's got 18 goal contributions in, 18 games or something, which is a remarkable stat, meaning that he does contribute to a goal or an assist in every game that he's played so far. So I know it's something that we all want him to continue to score and perform well, but I think there is a lot of talk about Mohamed Salah's contract, but that's something we'll get into a little more detail later. For now, let's complete the post-match analysis for the game against Aston Villa. So back to that. Núñez with the first goal, Mohamed Salah with the second goal. Another clean sheet for Liverpool. Coleman Kelleher once again stepping into that goalie role, and he has been performing so well for Liverpool. He's easily one of the best goalkeepers in the world right now. If it was up to me, and if I had to decide, I would not choose to sell Coleman Kelleher. And unfortunately, if we do keep Coleman Kelleher, he would be a number 2 behind Alisson Becker, who's one of the best in the world. But if you think about it, the other teams in the Premier League, none of them have a goalkeeper as good as Coleman Kelleher. I mean, let's just name a few of the top teams. Manchester City, they've got Ederson. Yeah, he's pretty good. But is he better than Alisson Becker? I don't think so. I know he did have 1 or 2 good seasons, but Alisson has been more consistent for us. Who else? Arsenal. They've got David Raya. Yeah, not the best goalkeeper. He's decent. Andre Onana with Manchester United. No, I don't rate him. Nick Pope. No, pretty average. He had 1 good season. Emiliano Martinez, the Argentine goalkeeper for Aston Villa. Yeah, he's decent. He's actually probably one of the better ones. I'd probably rate him, Alisson, and Ederson as the top 3. And everyone else whether it's Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale, Burton Leno, Jose Sa, all these guys that, I don't think they're as good as Coleman Kelleher. And Coleman Kelleher has proven himself in the last few games where he's made some really important saves. He's been very commanding when he had to be. He's got good chemistry with Van Dijk and Kanate, and despite being such a young boy, he's stepped in and he's really put the bar so high up for just someone being a second choice goalie. So, but I do understand Liverpool have signed some other goalkeeper in this last transfer window. I don't remember his name. I know he got signed and he was immediately loaned back out, but I guess Liverpool have got some plans for a different goalkeeper sometime down the road. I just think that Coleman Kelleher is a better choice, number one, for us if we do lose Alisson Becker. But that's just my personal opinion. You can let me know what you think in the comments, right? So that's just the goalkeeper situation. Really good performance. We could not have pulled through without Kelleher in that 2-0 win. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Darwin Núñez. He scored that first goal. That's his second Premier League goal of the season. He's definitely stepped up a lot in recent weeks. I definitely think the injury to Diego Jota has sort of forced him back into the starting lineup. It has given him a little more opportunity to start. I know that Arne Slot does prefer Cody Gakpo ahead of him, but Cody Gakpo has always been coming in as a left winger, meaning they've been playing Darwin Núñez as the center forward or the main central striker role. So it's good to see. He's played 8 matches in the Premier League so far. He's at least come on as a sub, or he's come on, or has come on really late in a game just to see out in the last few minutes. Regardless, he's a really good team player. Not seeing the best performances by him. Understandably, Cody Gakpo is pulling out better performances, mainly just because he is Dutch, and probably communication with Arne Slot is probably a little more, easier or a little more comfortable, I guess. So that's just my guess why I think, Núñez is not getting as much game time. But when he does make it count. He has reassessed his pressure style. He tends to do a more controlled team press, and by doing this, you get to maintain your stamina throughout the rest of the game. You're not going back to back all the time, and it builds your confidence and your fitness when you close down players and you actually win the ball. So that's a bit more of an Arne Slot tactic, but it's good to see Núñez has tapped into that. So he is definitely performing well. Darwin Núñez, he's definitely taken his chances, and he's definitely shown a significant amount of improvement in the last few weeks. He's more involved in the game, more involved in the build-up. He's definitely helping defense a lot more. And something about him and Salah and Diaz and the team, it just screams, counterattack pace, and it just so explosive when it happens. Like even that second goal, or even both goals that Liverpool scored against Aston Villa were actually counterattacks. The first one was where Darwin Núñez scored, but it was actually Mohamed Salah that was doing all the running, and he was actually fouled by an Aston Villa player. There were shouts for a red card or a foul because he was the last man, but the ref gave the ball continued play, and played an advantage. And of course, Darwin latched on to the ball after that tackle, and he went around the goalkeeper and dinked it over Emiliano Martinez, and it was 1-0 to Liverpool. The second goal was very similar. I believe it was a through pass from. Oh no, it was actually a defender that was trying to hit the ball clear, as they were trying to contain Liverpool in their own half, and the defender headed the ball directly to Mohamed Salah, and it hit him in the head, and it just went directly so much more advanced into Aston Villa's half, making the counterattack just so quick, and Mohamed Salah one-on-one with Martinez, and a very clever little finish there. He just dinks it into the corner to make it 2-0. So that wrapped up the big 2-0 win over the weekend. Liverpool, of course, with that win, they go 5 points clear on the top. I do recall Manchester City lost over the weekend, so that's why Liverpool went 5 points clear. Arsenal and Chelsea played out a 1-1 draw, meaning, ground made up by Arsenal there. Nottingham Forest, they lost to Newcastle United. Man United won against Leicester. But yeah, Man City losing to Brighton 2-1. That was a bit of a shock. So that's actually one of the reasons why Liverpool are 5 points clear now going into the international break. Speaking of breaks, we're going to take a very short break, and when we come back, we're going to start talking a little more about specific players. Konate, we're going to talk about Salah's contract, what's happened to Trent Alexander-Arnold. He did limp off in that game against Aston Villa. What's going on with him? Is he coming back? Is he renewing his contract with Liverpool? So we'll get into a lot more talk on those items right after this break. All right, welcome back to Austin's Anfield Angle. I'm your host, DJ, and let's get started on the next section of the show. To kick things off, in this section, we're moving into specific players. So the first player we're going to talk about is Liverpool star right back, Trent Alexander-Arnold. So Trent, he picked up a hamstring injury in Liverpool's last game against Aston Villa at Anfield. I think he only played approximately 25 minutes before going down, clutching his hamstring. He seemed to be in some amount of pain, but nothing too significant. I don't know what the detail of the injury is. It may have just been, a hamstring pull or, a small muscle tear or something like that. The reports that I'm seeing is that we expect Trent Alexander-Arnold to return back to games right after the international break, which is end of the month, which is fairly quick. But my guess is Arne Slot won't be risking him, given that we've got a good backup in Connor Bradley, and we want Trent to be fit for the long term, and he won't need to be rushed back. And of course, I may stand corrected here, because being rushed back, Liverpool will be playing some big games, especially in the Champions League. They've got Real Madrid, they've got Manchester City coming up. From what I'm seeing, reports are saying that Trent has been facing this hamstring problem since the last England international game he played, where he played through pain for the past month. He initially picked up the pain when his side was representing England against Finland. And ever since then, he's been playing for Liverpool with the pain, probably taking a combination of painkillers and medications, just to power through. But I think the game against Aston Villa, eventually it just took a toll on him, and he just went down. So Definitely hamstring injuries from my experience. I know sometimes they can take 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, depending how bad the tear is and how bad the damage is. Trent, from the looks of it, I think the fact that he was playing with pain, he may have done a little more damage than he would have liked. But the fact that he went down himself, that probably just tells us the pain got to a point where it's a little more unbearable, and he definitely needed to get substituted out. Following that, I mean, Trent has been always a big player for Liverpool. He's one of the Scousers. He's been with the team since he was a kid. A lot of comparisons to Steven Gerrard in terms of the passion and the passing ability and what he likes to do with the ball and how he likes to hit the ball, and also the fact that he wants to captain the team at some time, which is great, but that's something Trent has always going to have the potential for, and we need players like him to stay fit. In my opinion, I actually think Trent might be one of the best right backs in the world. From an offensive standpoint, yes, Trent has always got that great cross in his right foot. He's definitely got the ability to put the ball in dangerous areas. He's a great free kick taker. He's really strong on the ball. His defensive ability has significantly increased in the past 4 or 5 months under Arne Slot. And I touched on this in the last show, mainly because Trent has actually got the ability, the upper body strength. You can see how he's changed up his gym routine. You can see he's developed stronger shoulders, and he's definitely stronger right now in shrugging off defenders, shrugging off attackers when they try to win the ball off him. I just feel that while he does have a good defensive record right now, he would still need to focus a little more on endurance. And the reason I'm saying that is because of just the way Liverpool use his skill. It's sort of like a quarterback, where they've got that ability to make that great pass. And in Trent's case, he is someone who tries to, step into the center midfield area. And this is where I would say he's similar to what Steven Gerrard would do, right? He would step in, make those big passes, and always try to pick out a good through pass, so it will create a good opportunity for Liverpool to score. Only problem is when you do that, you step into that center midfield, leaving that gap on that right back position, allowing the left winger to cut through. The only problem with having Trent do that, also it would mean that Konate would have to step out further wide, creating a larger space and gap between him and Van Dijk, and Robertson would have to tuck in at some times too. We do have Gravenberch who would sit in that number 6 role, but as Liverpool are trying to build attacks, sometimes Trent would push up. He would definitely get into more attacking positions, and as the whole team tries to advance forward, when you can get hit on the counterattack. I've seen many games where Trent isn't back in his defensive position as soon as he should be. So, and that's just my personal opinion. Maybe it's a tactic where Liverpool have accepted the risk on there, and that's why they've got Konate on there, who's big, powerful, and strong, who would cover, and they've got Ryan Gravenberch with decent amount of pace to drop back into defense to help out for the counterattack. And maybe that's just a risk that Liverpool have accepted, right? And that's how they would try to do it. Personally, I'm not a fan of it. I love to see Trent advance more in midfield and take shots and make crosses like he always has. However, I do acknowledge that there is a risk in just the style that Liverpool are playing with Trent. And that's just my opinion. Share your opinions in the comments, and we're happy to hear more about what you have to say. Other than that, we're still going to be touching on Trent. We're going to look at Trent's contract situation. So right now, from what I see on the news reports, so there's still ongoing negotiations between the player and the club. I believe that come January 1st, Trent will have the ability to speak to clubs outside of the Premier League and Europe. And there's been strong indications saying that he might be moving to Real Madrid. We have seen Trent have a strong relationship with Jude Bellingham, who is a key player for Real Madrid in that center midfield role. Both players have combined really well when playing at the World Cup recently. And I think Trent has definitely bought into the idea of life in Real Madrid, partnering Jude Bellingham. Danny Carvajal, who is Real Madrid's current right back, is in his mid-30s. He is definitely on the wrong end of 30, I would say. He definitely had a really serious knee injury not too long ago, and he's probably out for the rest of the season. So Real Madrid are definitely looking to find a replacement for someone in that position. Trent being one of the best right backs in the world, I mean, we talked about it earlier, and he is just holding out, remaining really tight-lipped about the contract renewal situation. Liverpool, of course, trying to get him to remain at the club. However, when Real Madrid come calling, it's always a very difficult option to turn them down. And when you have a friend like Jude Bellingham, who is one of the key players for them, he would be advocating the idea of having both of them play there for the next few years. However, fingers crossed, my personal opinion, I actually think that Trent will not leave Liverpool. I think that he would actually stay. He may sign an extension. And this is probably going to be very much related to some of the other players that are considering to stay and play for the team. Mohamed Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson. You might even have players like Robertson and Gravenberg and all these other players who may have an influence on Trent just making his decision. I mean, it is his boyhood club, and it's been a dream for him to win everything with Liverpool so far. So he would definitely want to stay and do it again. But to join Real Madrid, it is not an easy club to say no to. So my personal opinion, I think he will eventually come clean and say, yes, I'm going to stay at Liverpool. But I just think that he's dragging this out just to push numbers and get negotiations to swing in his favor a little more. It's a bit more of a leverage that he can use to say that Real Madrid are offering this amount of money and this amount of bonuses, and if you can match that, I would stay, or if you can match something pretty close to that, I would stay. And I think Liverpool and the owners would be looking very closely at what they can do for this player. So, and that is the Trent Alexander-Arnold situation at the moment. Similar to Trent, we had a talk about Mo Salah earlier and his contract situation, and also we've got Van Dijk, who's in a similar contract situation. Van Dijk, there are rumors that he is pretty close to signing an extension. My personal opinion, I think he will sign with Liverpool, mainly because of the Dutch influence with Arne Slot. and the fact that he's got a good relationship with Ryan Gravenberch and Cody Gakpo and probably some of the coaching staff, with all being Dutch. Well, mostly being Dutch, I would say. I think he would be pretty happy to stay on for a couple more years at Liverpool. And that might influence the other players to choose to stay on as well. He might stay at Liverpool. Salah might then choose to stay on because he's chasing records as well. Similarly, we've got players, the other players, probably even Robertson might be looking at extending, Allison as well. These guys are all key players, and they're really experienced. Of course, Arne Slot might have a different opinion. He might want to chop and change and have some players freshen things up in the defense or in the goalkeeping area. We already spoke about Coleman Kelleher doing really well. Curtis Jones has really stepped up recently. So there's a lot of really good talent in Liverpool right now, and there's a high possibility that they would actually challenge for most of the major honors. I don't think it would be a situation where Liverpool will lose so many players by selling, and I think the owners are very, very intelligent about how they invest. The academy is doing really well. On top of that, you've got younger players who are coming through the academy and making appearances through the senior team. Good examples are Jones and Harvey Elliott and Trent. You've got other players coming back from injuries as well. You've got Allison, Jota, Harvey Elliott, all expected to return after the international break. So we believe that these are, all going to help contribute to Liverpool's team strength in depth. And definitely we think with the number of games coming up for the rest of the season, you will need that. So, contract negotiations might revolve around, who's choosing to stay and who's being around and how much of an influence that player might have on the team. So fingers crossed, but, I definitely think Trent would stay. I think Van Dijk would stay. I think Salah would stay too. How many years? Of course, I don't know any. I don't have any indications of what that might be. I would assume people like Van Dijk and Salah might get maybe a 1 year or 2 year extension. Where else, Trent might get something close to a 3 or 4 year extension, given he's still significantly younger than the rest of them. But that's just my opinion and my take, and that's it for now. We'll take another short break, and when we come back, we'll dive in a little more about David Coote and some controversial refereeing decisions coming from the recent Liverpool game, and some other poor decisions made in other games as a VAR referee or even the fourth official. And yes, so we will talk more about those topics after this very short break. All right, welcome back, and to this final section of Austin's Anfield Angle. This final section, we're going to be talking about David Coote, who is a Premier League referee who was recently suspended after a video allegedly showing him making derogatory comments about Liverpool and the club's former manager, Jurgen Klopp, which was circulated on social media recently. So let's just briefly understand where this all started. So David Coote, he made some controversial decisions in the latest Liverpool game between Liverpool and Aston Villa at Anfield. He he's one of the most experienced officials in the game. He's been refereeing top flight matches since 2018. The video, I think, was released on social media. I think it was on Instagram, Facebook, and several other platforms. It was basically just showing, it appears he and a friend were having a conversation. It was recorded. Basically he was saying things about how he thinks Liverpool are as a club. He thinks, Jurgen Klopp and the club is very unprofessional. He's had a bit of a go at them, and there were remarks made that are not very nice to hear in the English vocabulary. Let's just put it that way. So he went on to make several statements about his experience working with Jurgen Klopp, his experience working with Liverpool, his experience refereeing Liverpool, and how he believes that they have been trying to manipulate refereeing decisions. And then, of course, on the other half of it, you've got Liverpool fans, pundits, and Premier League officials who are questioning several decisions he has made. For example, there was a very big call in this recent game where Salah was fouled, and it was the last man that took him down. It should have been a red card offense. However, there was just, he waved play on. He didn't even call a foul. He didn't give him a yellow card, no warning, no nothing. He just let the game go on. Liverpool were very fortunate to go on and score from that move. So that actually played out to our advantage. But there were several other really poor calls throughout the game, and it was actually raised up into Premier League officials for further investigation. And somehow this video popped up a couple of days later. So, and then this brings into question every other game that David Coote has really taken into his officiating career. So when Liverpool were on a 24-match winning run at Anfield, I remember there was a game against Burnley. I think he made several bad calls in that game. Burnley did go on to win that game, I believe, during COVID. And then I believe Klopp and Andy Robertson were found confronting David Coote that after the game. And they were very, very unhappy. They were making statements. There were lots of challenges that were clear, and you didn't call them. The players were angry and frustrated that the referee didn't call the right decisions during the game. And, it led to Liverpool drawing that game, I think. And this was in 2020. Of course, there was also issues, with the referee when I think it was Liverpool against Arsenal, when there was a blatant handball incident. I think Martin Odegaard handled the ball in the penalty box, but it was waved on. David Coote was the VAR official that day. Again, that was very obvious that it should have been called out. Premier League officials did say it was an official mistake. However, David Coote stuck to his decision. And those are just two examples. There are multiple more examples you can find online. And probably one of the big ones for me was in 2019 or 2020 when Van Dijk was tackled by Jordan Pickford when Liverpool played Everton. It was a horrendous tackle where he almost snapped his leg in half, basically. But David Coote did not even call for a foul, did not even call for a penalty. He just let the game go, and Van Dijk was eventually taken off a couple minutes later because he had torn his ACL. So those are just some very quick incidences on why David Coote is suddenly under investigation. I believe he is being suspended as of immediately, and the Premier League officials are investigating his background and his officiating results. There's a lot of Liverpool fans that believe that this is something that needs to happen. There's conversations about him being a anti-Liverpool referee, and that is just something we can't have in the Premier League, especially if you're refereeing in those games that may influence the outcome of the league and the results. So I think it's good that it's been picked up now. These things may have happened before in the past. I think when Alex Ferguson was the manager of Manchester United, there was a Howard Webb who was always very, very, very lenient towards Manchester United at the time. And this is a similar incident. Of course, during Howard Webb's time, we did not have VAR, video replays to check for offsides and so on and so forth. So it was a little more different. In today's world, David Coote, he does have all these additional bells and whistles with the refereeing, and we have an extra official in the VAR room. So David Coote definitely is in a little bit of trouble right now, and my personal opinion, I think he's always had a grudge against Liverpool. It's pretty evident since 2020. He's been, slowly trying to make an impact on how he can dampen their results. So definitely, in my personal opinion, I think it's good that he's been pulled up here and he's suspended to be investigated. Hopefully he does not have to referee a Liverpool game again, or maybe even a Premier League game again. As a Premier League official, you need to be clean, you need to be neutral, you can't pick sides, and having people like this in the game, it just ruins the fun of the game. All right. So that's a very brief take on David Coote. Of course, you can check more about this on our page on Instagram, Austin's Anfield Angle. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify and YouTube. Again, look out for Austin's Anfield Angle and get into the discussion and get involved in comments to share your thoughts and opinions, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. This week, there are no Premier League games. There's no midweek games. There is the European Nations League. I do know, David, I think there's a few Liverpool players who are playing on international games. Hopefully they come back fit. Liverpool's next game, I believe, is November. I don't want to get the day wrong. I think it's 24th. And that is against Southampton. That is an 8 a.m. kickoff here in Austin, Texas, Central Time Zones in the U.S., November 24th. So be sure to check your local listings for that game and tune in, and we will have a post-match discussion about that in our next, a pre-game discussion about the game in our next session, and of course a post-game discussion about it the week after. So once again, that brings us to the end of our podcast for this week. It is a little shorter than the previous week, given that we had no games. Do stay tuned to watch our updates and look out for match updates, transfer updates, and latest news about Liverpool FC on our Instagram page. And stay tuned to our Spotify channel here, and look out for any new updates that we might issue very soon. So once again, this is Austin's Anfield Angle. thank you for your time, and we really appreciate all the support and love we've been getting. We're trying to grow from strength to strength. Hopefully, we'll get more interaction with our supporters and the local Austin Liverpool Supporters Club, and maybe even get some fans on our show to share opinions and join in on the discussions. So until next time, thank you all very much for your time, and we'll speak to y'all next episode. Have a good night.